What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here for another edition of the weekly sports card market update. A busy Labor Day weekend edition. Shipshawana show is kicking off as you are probably firing this up. Actually, probably already underway. Brad lets people in the building super early. Trade night has already happened. I am actually recording this early on Saturday afternoon because I am not able to make the ship show because I have a boatload of fantasy football drafts this weekend, with the first one starting later this afternoon into Saturday evening. The league has been around since the mid-90s. We draft in person. There is a board in the front of the room. Everybody brings good food. We put stickers up. We have our inside jokes. It is a whole thing. And then I have another league on Sunday night, which is an auction draft. That league has also been running since the 90s. And then I have the Content Creator League on Tuesday night for Flipping Steve's national giveaway with a bunch of my fellow hobby content creators. Probably will live stream part of that. Not 100% sure what's going on with that yet, but if you want to tune into that, that'll probably be going on Tuesday evening. I think that kicks off around 6 or 7 o'clock. So very busy weekend for me, not in the card space. Ohio State kicks off very shortly here. I'm recording this around lunchtime on Saturday. A lot of news and stuff to get into this week. We had Topps Chrome release. We had Topps Composite release. I have not had hands on that yet. My box is on the FedEx truck, out for delivery as I am speaking into this microphone. So maybe before I leave the house today, I will have that video recorded. But if not, that box opening will be up earlier this week. What I have seen online, I think the composite product actually looks better than the basketball product. I'll wait until I actually rip the box to fully walk out on that plank. But I've liked what I've seen in the couple of box openings that I have witnessed. More about Chrome and composite later in today's video. First up, before we dive too deep, shout out to channel sponsor comc.com, sponsor of the channel and the weekly sports card market update specifically. They are currently running their NFL kickoff event. It ends later today, so make sure you are checking on those ComC auctions ending on eBay. They have a graded auction event coming at the end of the month that you could submit your cards into. And basically, the auction events are kind of like, they put a little extra marketing and juice behind them, essentially, if you have cards in those events to kind of draw people's eyes to them. So keep a lookout for them. I'm waiting to get this composite box, and then I am probably going to have a shipment going off to ComC hopefully sometime this week. So maybe you'll see that video on the channel. I got a little pile building up again, and it's time to send some things off to them. All those heavy hitters from my Topps Chrome basketball box, I got to get out the ComC. The market is fiending for John Collins pajama cards, and God knows I have a ton of them, sadly. So go check out ComC if you are not using it. Buy, sell, and trade. Go check out our friends over at ComC, one of the best places on the internet for you to buy and sell trading cards. First up, the 1/1 Superfractor has been pulled. Z Collector Torm posted on the Instagram overnight Friday night. I saw this all over the place when I woke up early Saturday morning. Has been hit. It does appear this is real. He also posted a video of it that you could see here. That looks like a real Superfractor to me. Looks like a Wemby auto. So we're still waiting on 100% confirmation, but this looks like it is a done deal. Now, I saw some chatter that maybe this was hit overseas, but I have not actually confirmed that yet. So I don't know where it's sitting at. I don't know if they're accepting the bounty. I don't know if they're going to grade it first. It does look, centering-wise and stuff, looks pretty good in that photo. That looks pretty dead on. So I'm sure we will find out very shortly here if the $1 million bounty is accepted or not. Also, this week, earlier in the week, Grand Slam Collectibles down in Tennessee hit the 1/1 LeBron Superfractor auto. That one was a redemption. So the two big chases of the product are hit. The LeBron Superfractor auto and the Wemby Superfractor auto. To the best of my knowledge, there is not a bounty on the LeBron. So I have no idea what that card will sell for. Way more than it probably should. But the $1 million bounty, we do not know if that is cashed in or not at time of recording. That could have changed by the time you were all watching this 24 hours later, give or take. So we'll see if this has any impact on the secondary market prices. I don't think it has a ton because people just want Wemby autos, even if they're not chasing the super. I have never been one to think that when one of these big bounty cards gets pulled that all of a sudden the wax is going to tank for that product. Maybe it slows down the velocity of it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to zero anytime soon. If anything, the secondary market prices on this product in general has surprised me, as the hype and chase for Victor is absolutely crazy, because the biggest issue with this product, as we discussed this week, the floor is super low on it. The floor is in the basement, because if you whiff on Wemby, you are basically toast. And if anyone tries to sell you a different story, they are lying to you, they are a breaker, or they have a vested interest in the product. Yes, you could potentially hit a LeBron auto. That's floating around out there. Okay, I would give you that one. Maybe a super low numbered LeBron does pretty well, like a gold. Outside of that and all the Wemby stuff, I think you're pretty much smoked. So when you're ripping a product and there's only like a player and a half that's worth pulling and only a handful of cards, the floor is just so low. Because even like, a Brandon Miller refractor out of this product is nearly going to be worthless because he has silver prisms. But in an actual prism product or selector optic, you can nickel and dime your way out a little bit with that sort of stuff. With this one, you can't do it, but the big one has been hit. Follow up to a story that happened earlier this week. Stack and Sell. This is the person that bought the Brock Purdy. Let me give you a little bit better pause face there. Sorry about that, buddy. Person that hit the purchased the Brock Purdy that had the damaged corner at the Burbank show for, he actually got it for $6,500, not $7,500. Posted a fantastic video. I will link to this. I highly encourage you to go watch it if you haven't after you're done watching this one. Was very much accepting of basically, and like I said, I won't spoil it all. Please go watch it. The greed got the best of him, essentially. He saw the price, knew that what a raw one went for, seemed like too good of a deal to pass up, was already thinking about how much money he was going to make from it, and pounced on it without doing due diligence. Now, he does mention the Burbank show actually reached out to him and are investigating this matter, so good on Burbank. The seller that he purchased it from said that they had picked it up in a trade earlier that day, and that they also did not realize that the card had that much significant damage on it. Now, the comments on the video, on his video, have already gone down the tinfoil hat route of he's BSing you. They 100% knew what was wrong with that card. Now, we don't know that for sure. I guess Burbank's looking into it. He's continuing to look into it. He is not publicizing the dealer yet. He said if he gets proof that the dealer was in fault here and did know that it was damaged, then that'll be a little bit of a different story and he may come public with it. But basically, he wanted this to be a learning opportunity for everyone. Fantastic story. 100% recommend going to check out this video. In fact, I got to remember to give it a little like. I subscribed to the channel. I forgot to like. So I will tag to this in the description down below. Go check it out. There are, as I mentioned in the video that I did on it, there are a lot of lessons that we can learn from this, where sometimes we get blinded by the deal and the card and the potential flip and whatever else, and we lose track of actually working through the fundamentals of, have I looked the card completely over? If it's authentic, why is it authentic? If it's a PSA 9, why is it a 9? If it's a 10, is everything okay on it? If it's a high value card, and what high value means is different for every individual person, did you check the cert number? On a $15, $20, $50 card, I'm not going to look up the cert number. When it gets to the couple hundreds creeping towards 1,000, I'm checking the cert number every single time. Now, that threshold's going to be different for every person. That's just me. But you got to do those due diligence checks and not get rushed into a deal. Don't let, and I don't think this is what happened here, but just in general, don't let someone rush you into a deal. Take a breath, take a time out, work through your process. If you're at a card show or at a trade night, look up what you need to look up. It's 2024. Unless you're at the National, the internet will work. You'll be able to look up what you need to, look up the cert number, all that stuff. Double check comps on the card, check multiple websites, all that jazz. And ultimately, and most important, look the actual card over. I don't care whose slab it is and what number is associated in the corner. You got to protect yourself as much as possible. So go check out his video. Great stuff in there. And we'll see if more comes from this. I expect more updates depending on what he ends up, or Burbank ends up finding out about it. A little bit of Topps news. Otani signed an exclusive agreement with Topps for autographs and relics. I'm not super shocked by this, but good of Topps to completely lock him down. So their product is the only ones that you will be able to find Otani stuff in. This is not sports related, but I've gotten a lot of questions on it, and I probably won't do a standalone video on it, so we're just going to throw it in here really quickly. Marvel Topps Chrome dropped this weekend. UK only release, and that is the big key thing to keep in mind here. This is a Europe only product, and the Marvel license for Europe is different than the one for the United States. Now, could that change? Sure. Do I expect that we see some sort of Marvel Topps Chrome trading card maybe sometime next year? I sure do. I don't know if it'll be this 2024 version, or if it'll be a new 2025 version. But this did drop. You can get boxes on eBay. They're going for about $500 or something crazy. I thought about trying to make a run at one, but that seems awful expensive. David Adams is paying $500 for them, so I don't see that price dipping super, super low. The cards look pretty good, at least in preview images. The only thing I don't like that they're doing is the facsimile autos like they did with Disney 100. I am not a fan of that. So if I could reasonably get my hands on a box, or if anyone happens to be watching from Europe and has a direct line to one, feel free to slide into the DMs. I would love to open one on the channel. I just want one just open. Maybe I'll chase some singles from it. But we're not fully freaking out yet. We knew this was coming. They announced this months ago. I just saw this making the rounds around social, and people are like, it's a done deal, Fanatics and Marvel. And yeah, we all think it's heading that way, but this was actually announced months ago. People knew that this was coming. It is EU only. The license is separate than the United States. Now, it's another little knock in the ledger of the things and reasons why we all think that eventually Fanatics is getting the Marvel license from Upper Deck. But for US distribution anyways, not quite yet. But probably coming very, very soon. Be curious to see how this product ends up coming out. Some grading news. I almost did a separate video on this, and it got lost in the shuffle of all the Topps Chrome nonsense. SGC Pete came and spoke to the people in one of his world famous Instagram lives. They are doing a Topps Chrome grading special. $12 a card, 5 to 10 day business turnaround time. All Topps Chrome, everything ever created, all sports, non-sports, any year, anything. Great time to be running this because in addition to Topps Chrome Basketball, which just released, we have Topps Chrome Baseball, which came out not too terribly long ago. It's still kind of going through its product life cycle. We also have Star Wars Topps Chrome, which just came out about 3 weeks ago now, maybe. So all those cards are hitting the market. So pretty solid special overall from the old SGC Pete down there in Florida at $12 a card. We'll see what gem rate numbers look like. Those will probably be out later today. We'll probably cover those either on a Monday or Tuesday video. depending on what I end up doing for the Labor Day holiday. In other grading news, Fanatics and SGC kind of extend their partnership a little bit, I guess. This is another one of those things where people read the headline and everyone freaks out without actually realizing some things. I saw this making the way around social, like, oh, there it is, Fanatics and CGC, they're all partnered up, that's it, end of story, they picked their horse. They didn't. I mean, maybe they did, they're giving them a little bit of an edge here, but Fanatics is currently partnered with all 4 major grading companies via Fanatics Collect. This is not, them working with CGC is not new here. The newest one actually added in was PSA. What is new here is what they are offering, which is 24-hour turnaround grading via things at the Fanatics Collect Vault. Essentially what they have is CGC has basically entered a satellite, or opened a satellite office at Fanatics Collect. So when you have a card sitting in the Fanatics Collect Vault, or you send a raw card there, maybe from a break, whatever, you will have the option to get it graded, and it'll be back in 24 hours, which is actually kind of wild when you really think about it. So, like I said, the fact that Fanatics and CGC are partnering up is not new. They were already partnering with CGC for grading. What is new is allowing them on site. Now, is this exclusive? We don't really know. Would one of the other grading companies potentially do this too? That I don't really know. It would probably depend on how much business is going through there. That's got to be pretty expensive to staff a grader and the equipment that you need there for an unknown amount of business. You know, I have no idea how many cards are going to be coming through the door for this person to potentially grade. But it is an interesting concept, and I like it from CGC's perspective in regards to marketing, potentially getting your slabs out to market a little bit more and a little bit faster, and maybe on some more higher profile cards, because most of the stuff going to Fanatics Collect is usually higher end. We'll see how much use case it actually gets, but I like the thinking. I definitely like the thinking by CGC on this one. In other CGC news, and I don't want to completely derail this video. I'll end up doing probably a standalone video on this. I'm just late to it. CGC has another real mess on their hands with comic books. I'll just kind of leave it at that. My boy Swaggle House has done a bunch of coverage on it. 99 Newsstand has done a bunch of coverage on it over on Instagram. But I don't want to completely derail a sports video with comic book talk. I've already did that with Marvel cards. Look forward to a video covering that. Needless to say, CGC Comics is up to their old tricks once again. Let's transition on over to market movers. Link in the description down below if you want your own versions of charts and graphs. You can get 2 weeks free, and there's a coupon code down there for 20% off for life. First up, sealed wax. Topps Chrome Basketball currently sitting at about $5.50 a box. It has settled in. Topps Composite, which is a football product released this weekend, sitting just under $400 a box. The big thing here is basically since their pre-orders, which was about a month ago, Topps Chrome Basketball is up nearly 30%. Topps Composite is only up about 10%, but it was a lot cheaper on the initial drop. My box that I ordered from Topps Direct, I think was like $230 or $240 or something for that box. That's the one that'll be delivered later today. 3 autos per box on Topps Composite Football. I think Topps Composite Football is actually a little bit more of the sneaky play here between the two. The $5.50 for Topps Chrome Basketball is just absolutely wild. And that being said, some commenters, and like I said, this will be interesting to monitor from a what happens now that the 2 big hits have been pulled. Does the velocity slow down a little bit? On the flip side, I had multiple commenters call this out, and it is 100% a great call. Topps Chrome Basketball boxes are going for $5.50. 2020 Bowman Chrome University boxes are going for $4.20. That is a much better buy than the Topps Chrome Basketball boxes, in my opinion. One, they're $125-ish cheaper And two, you have better hit potential. You could get, well, yeah, you can get LeBron out of Topps Chrome, but it's super hard. I don't think he signed very much for that product. But in Bowman Chrome University, you're getting Victor and you're getting Caitlin Clark. Say what you will about the WNBA, Caitlin Clark stuff still sells really, really well. I would much rather rip a case of Bowman Chrome University than Topps Chrome basketball, and it's not even close. And as some other people pointed out in the comments of those videos, a lot of the big hits from Chrome Basketball University have not been redeemed yet, because a lot of the Victor stuff was redemptions in that product for autographs. But remember, Topps changed their redemption policy. Those things are good for a lot longer now, like I think 10 years or something crazy. I don't remember off the top of my head. So that has way more longer legs on it than it did at one point in time when those redemptions would be expiring. Not even a question for me. I would be buying Bowman Chrome University basketball boxes left, right, and center. Now, at one point in time, one of my bigger mistakes I had when these initially went on sale, they were like 75 or $100 or something. They were dirt cheap. I bought like 4 or 5 of them, and I had them stashed, and they hadn't gone crazy yet. And when Topps did that Victor Green thing where if you pulled the redemption, you could go in person for it, and this was before they changed the redemption policy. So at the time, I thought I had an expiration date on the boxes. I ended up ripping them. I hit like one of the SP Victors and some Caitlin Clark base and maybe a pink or something, I don't remember, that I ended up selling. But mistake there, ripping that product and not holding on to it. My gut was right. I just didn't have the intestinal fortitude to sit on the sealed wax. To be fair, I got a little bait and switch with them changing the redemption stuff around, and they got me on the FOMO of the contest for the Wemby thing. But yeah, I would much rather rip one of those boxes than Topps Chrome basketball. Seems like a way, way better buy. And even a buy and hold from a sealed wax perspective. Just do keep an eye on the redemption thing, because the Victor autos are redemptions, so that will turn into a pumpkin at some point in time. Victor non-auto cards continue to find their floor. Just since the other day when we checked in on this, the base is now down to about $50. That's a 50% drop from release. The very first ones out of the gate were doing 100. We're down to $50 now. And the refractor is down to $365, now selling for under the silver prism. I am fascinated by the refractor versus the silver prism and kind of where that ends up and how big that gap ends up being between those two cards. But right now, we are now starting to see the split. Up until this point, they were actually a little bit higher, and then it became equal, and now it has dipped under. So we'll see how under it goes. The other thing that I am fascinated about watching is what do the population reports look like for this stuff as we move on. And that is, I didn't mention this in Friday's video where we talked Victor. An interesting angle. This is the first player of the ultra-modern era that we have 2 companies printing desirable product for that player. Like, remember, we did that gem rate video about a month ago where Victor was already, I forget what he was, like 15th or 20th in all-time graded cards ever for a player. And that was before getting all this Topps stuff. Yeah, he had some Bowman stuff sprinkled into there, but now we have this Topps Chrome release, and throw that into the mix to water down everything even more. You got to be real picky on this stuff, on what cards you're going after, especially the rare stuff that if you truly believe in a player and you want to air quote buy into them, just be careful what you're buying, because there is a lot of noise out there, a lot of purple pixie fairy dust disco balls numbered to 72. Just be careful out there with all that jazz. Next up, the autos. Those have been settling in at about $3K for a base auto, not a refractor. That's what we have the most sales on, but those do seem to be sitting strong at around the $3,000 mark for now. We'll see if those slip down a little bit. They're flirting with heading towards the Bowman Chrome auto like we discussed on Friday. We'll see if they keep going that way. That's another one that I am fascinated to watch, the base Topps Chrome auto versus the Bowman University auto. Let's switch gears, talk a little baseball. My boy, Big Christmas, John Kenzie Noel. A lower, a hyped prospect if you were like a big Indians fan. If you're outside of that, he really didn't get a lot of buzz. He was known for just hitting massive home runs. He got a little bit of run, and then it seemed like he kind of just petered out, kind of hit his ceiling last year in AAA. His card prices went down quite a bit. You could have got his first Bowman PSA 10 back in the spring for around 20, 30, 40 bucks, even lower than that. Here it is going for $10 back in April. I had a decent stack of his stuff. I was buying it raw and grading it. If you remember, I actually did a CSG crack out video where I bought a bunch of his stuff for dirt cheap in CGC slabs and was cracking them and sending them to get PSA graded, and I held on to them. I just waited because I figured at that point they were so low, let me just run this thing out. He got called up this year about a month or two ago, and he's been getting more and more playing time as he is absolutely murders the baseball. One of the funnest players I have seen come up in a long time. I absolutely adore him. I did keep one PSA 10 of his first Bowman auto, and I kept one PSA 10 of a base blue refractor, not the auto, from Bowman. But his stuff is way up. $200 now for a PSA 10 first Bowman, just a base. Once again, these were $20 back in the spring, and now we're up to $200. This is the stuff that you could still make a killing on in sports cards if you could figure out these guys. Now, I wasn't buying any during this time. I already had stacks of them that I had graded. I sold most of them off around here. I probably would have been better off holding longer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the two I got left. I kind of want to hold on to at least one of them just as because I just like the player a lot. I actually wouldn't mind kind of getting some of his other stuff. I don't know if he'll be in Topps Chrome Update or not, but I wouldn't mind chasing some of his stuff if he ends up in Topps Chrome or Topps Update when that comes out later this year. I don't know if he'll make the cut or not. Looking a little bit deeper on baseball. This is going back 180 days, which takes us back to early March. Some of the more premier names. Not going to focus so much on the graph there. Let's just kind of look at the numbers and how some of these players have performed. And this isn't everyone. This is just a random sampling of some guys that were hyped and not hyped. Juan Soto, PSA 10 first. These are all first Bowman base autos in PSA 10. Has gone up a little bit, up 20%. He is obviously having a fantastic season with the Yankees. A lot of things will come down to where he ends up signing in the off season. Bobby Witt, absolute monster, up 66%, having an MVP caliber season. If it wasn't for Judge going absolutely ballistic, Witt would probably be winning it by a mile. Jackson Holiday, the super hyped prospect, down 25% since March. That's when he was at his peak. No shock there. He has been playing pretty good since getting called back up again after his brief stint earlier in the year. His prices are actually climbing back up. They just have not yet reached where they were at the peak. I don't know if they ever will or not. J-Rod. Ouch. What a miserable season from Julio Rodriguez. I don't know if he is hurt or what. His base Bowman is down to $700. That is a 50% drop from the spring. I had messed around and found out and got that first Bowman refractor auto in trade back in the spring right before the season started. I ended up selling that at the National for more than what it's going for today. I think I got about 13-ish $100 for that card, 1400, somewhere right around there. I think the last comp was $12.50. I got basically that or slightly above in cash for that card. So absolutely got dusted on that one. I don't know if he's gonna be able to bounce back next season or not. He will be a crazy one to watch for fantasy drafts next year. If you're a believer, you probably have an excellent buy low opportunity on Julio. Wyatt Langford, notice the trend here on the ultra hyped guys, especially the kids in spring training. His prices were through the moon in spring training, as he was basically a lock to make the team. Back then, his first Bowman base auto was going for $950. It is now down to $300. That's a 67% drop. He has had an injury-plagued season. Has been bounced around. He was hurt. He's been in the majors the whole time, but just bounced around with the injuries. I don't remember if he's been playing better or not. I haven't looked at his numbers over the last month or so. He might be another one that would be an intriguing, post-hype, buy low, play that game with it if you believe in Wyatt Langford. His stuff is way cheaper now than what it once was. But we have 1 month to go in the baseball season before the playoffs start. Let's look at football just really quick. One thing I want to look at there, I know we were running long. I wanted to take a peek at release weekend sales for CJ Stroud Topps Composite Autos. Basically sitting at around $900 to $1,000. The thing about Composite is there's a bunch of different versions. There's Topps Chrome, there's Midnight, there's all sorts of nonsense. But for the most part, they are all going for right around $800 to $1,000. You can see the Midnight, or the Black rather, going for $870. There's an RPA going for $1,000. Another Topps Chrome Black going for $900. Another RPA for $1,250. This is the Resurgence Variation going for $470. That actually seems kind of cheap for that one. There's a Cosmic for $700. There was here's his Topps Chrome Auto. That one's not loading in, but less than $1,200 is what that one went for. I actually think out of all of them, my favorite one is the Topps Chrome Black. I think that's the best looking card out of Composite for him. If I was going to go for one, I think I would go for that one. In my opinion, that image looks way better than the Topps Chrome image. Just me. It's way harder to tell that that's unlicensed on the Topps Chrome Black than it is the other ones. I actually think that doesn't look that bad just because of the angle that they use for the shot. It is an odd card auto. If I was going to go for a Stroud auto from Composite, I think that's the one that I would go for personally. As always, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. Not sure what we got cooking for content coming up this week. I would like to talk about the CGC nonsense with comics. I'll have a Topps Composite box to open. That is 100% happening. I still have one more video that I recorded when I got back from Fanatics Fest, opening up 2 big Apple Refractor blaster boxes that's in the queue. Maybe that'll be this week at some point in time. We'll see. We've got a lot of box openings just because of the Fanatics Fest stuff and then all these releases coming out all at once. Select Football also dropped this weekend. No one seems to care. To be quite honest with you, it's been completely overshadowed by Topps Chrome Basketball and Topps Composite Football. So see what shakes out on that as well. I will not be opening any Select Football. There's no chance in hell I am opening that product. But enjoy. Hope you enjoyed college football this weekend. I hope you were able to attend the Ship Shawana show. Have an enjoyable Monday off if you do indeed have it. Have a nice long 3-day weekend and get your fantasy football drafts in. Catch you boys and girls in the next one. Peace.